Okay, I think everybody can hear me, right? Yeah. I try to avoid using the microphone. By trade, I teach in a college, so naturally my voice is louder. Like you can hear me, I'm losing my voice over time. It's just competition after competition after competition. I feel so excited. Same as today, I'm very honored and happy to be here. And this is much more than I expected, a full house. First, thank everyone to come to this session. Very quick introduction. My name is Dahai, and here today, co-presenter Ryan also shared the last name. This last name probably represents, I don't know, close to 100 million people right there. So we're all bonded together. Now, for today, my topic is talking about a journey, a 5-year journey that we grew together from FLL teams to FRC teams. I'm very proud that we are bringing 2 teams to the world for the very first time. My FLL teams right here, after 5 years of training, they won the Canadian Ontario champion first place. So they got one of the 2 spots that advanced to the world. And also our rookie FRC team, Bubbles, get the Rookie All-Star Award, also advanced to the world. So as a coach that lead the 2 wonderful teams and some other teams still back in home and cheering for us, I'm very happy to be here to talk about, share this experience with the world and with audience here. So, I think a lot of people, the audience, are familiar with this quote. Even though I've been doing FLL for 5 years, doing first for 5 years, I had to admit, I only come to this like 2 weeks ago when I received the email. But you know what? I echo so much because this is essentially the whole philosophy behind what I'm doing here and what our teams are doing. Over the years, I try to find different philosophy to represent how we get the kids to the work and eventually get their skill uplifted so that they can come to the work level. That this whole scientist, right? We don't use kids to build robots, even though that's the entry level. The kids at a younger age, and they're so interested in Legos and then into robots, right? Come over here, just have fun. And sometimes when we start talking about presentations and core values, and that's not really my cup of tea. I want to do robot only for younger kids. Let's be honest, right? But to be honest, and this is the same mentality for the first 1 or 2 years I was doing at all. And I say, robot is fun. The kids like it, and let's demonstrate how cool it is, how many points we could have. And then later on, I really realized, you know what? The robot doesn't really do the job by itself. It's not just for the purpose of winning the award. It's really for the true meaning of education. Without the proper, soft skills and core values, you cannot bond a team. I have a lot of examples later on. I'm going to demonstrate, hopefully, that inspire all of us. But essentially, I want to start with my presentation with we use robot to build kids. Now, a little bit background. We're from Canada, Ontario, and a small town called Aurora. Ontario district, for many of the FRC teams here, you probably know Ontario district is very competitive. This year, we're not really competing for the robot. We want to demonstrate our core values and inspirations, but that's where we're coming from. And for the FLL award, I'm happy to see that Aurora is a very high-tech small town. In the past few years, many of the Canadian champions came from the same town. So this year we're lucky to represent Canada. Now, similar to many of the FL stories, FRC stories, one of the great examples is Canadian team Waffle. When I started at FL, I said, oh, there's an interesting name called Waffle. Let's look into their history. Over the past 10, 20 years, this started growing from a family. And many of the parents and kids, probably similar story here, right in the audience, that's how we started. And back in 5 years ago, when my son, right now the FRC captain, right, was grade 5, was looking for some program. And I shop around looking for the robotic club. You know what, nothing really engaged me in terms of the type of education I was looking for. Then I start asking myself, you know, can I start a team in the neighborhood with a bunch of kids and do this FL training? And it happened. Again, similar to all the stories, we start from the basement. One of the advantages that I had is back in 5 years ago, the FL still using EV3. Even though there's a different programming language, by training I use a lab, the core lab, you know, for instrumentations. So I have no idea how to control robot because my background is not even you know, IT or electrical engineer. My background is on the energy side, sustainable energy. So I started learning and working with a group of kids. So over a few months, the kids are able to build the robots and demonstrate. And I learned really hard how to implement lab onto the EV3 because it's kind of a unique area, not too many applications, not too many examples, but we survived. And over that past few months, what I really learned is one of the kids on our team, right now, he's probably almost graduating from high school, demonstrate a strong leadership because as much as I want to have fun and train my own son, get into the Lego world, grade 5, what's your main hobby?
Playing games.
Playing games, video games. Right? They all say, oh, Dad, let me do something. But, you know, very soon they disappear. Nothing wrong with video games, right? But because of our leader back then, the student put a significant amount of time learning from YouTube because the coach doesn't know how to do it, right? So he's able to come up with many different attachments. Then we learn, oh, there's something called box robot, and there's something called attachment, and easily slip on, slip off to improve the efficiencies. So over very quick in that season, we were able to get a few awards. Then we are lucky enough to move on, right? So what I'm saying is that the whole story starts with a lot of similarities. The parents get involved. That's what I say is essential. I don't think any of the parents will disappoint their own kids. They want to provide the best resources for education. And in the past 5 years, I see up and down, but still I hold a very strong belief that the kids have to do this because this is a true education. Not only as a faculty in a college, but as a parent, as a coach, I want all my kids right here. They're all my kids. I want them to be successful. Now, in order to be successful, we have to implement the true education, not just helping them to get an award. So let's move on to the next. Well, speaking of award, right? I had to show off something. First year, replay. I just curious, how many of you here in the audience have done FL? Any kind of, oh, wow, amazing. So you probably have more experience than I do. We start with with replay. Unfortunately, COVID year. We got one award, we got one student, 7 students. The second year, well, we got some reputations, and we formed 2 teams, and we got 2 awards. And move on to the Energy Star. I start 23 teams, we got 4 awards. Masterpiece season, 4 teams, so 36 students, 5 awards. And this year, 4 teams, including this wonderful team advanced to the award. Now, the awards here is not showing to show off how amazing we are, even though I appreciate the student work. I put it here, as a coach, I cannot hold their hand, do all the work for them, in the meantime get all those awards. And in order to do so, they have to suffer. They have to do the work. They have to spend hours and hours, and sometimes crying, right? And we have, how many times we cry? In order to get things done. This experience is a true experience to prepare them for the FRC award. We all know when you get into the FRC, the time is much more limited, and resources are limited. And what can you do to come up with a robot in 6 weeks and then compete, and hopefully not falling apart during the middle of the competition? Without those kind of mentality, you cannot get them there. It's not the coach, the parent, the teacher hold their hand and give them a robot and to achieve this result. So I want to show there to show the excellence of the students' work. Now, we do FLL. I do want to deliver quality results, not just measured by the number of awards. I want to have the kids have motivation. As part of my career as a teacher, we all think, we all believe, we all agree, the biggest either the power or the resistance for the student learning is the motivation. If the student doesn't have motivation, it's insanely hard to push the student. So, as the community, we need to come up with different strategy to engage them, to help them, to let them know, okay, this is something that I could do, right? So that's my biggest job, try to motivate as many students as possible. And commitment. Even though we're doing FLL training, FRC training, first training, I don't consider it's just a first training. We actually run 2 hours per session, twice a week, 52 weeks per year. So we run it all year round. And the amount of kind of education they receive is beyond just a STEM, right? Of course, they need to do the robot, the Legos, the programming. Yes, they need to do that. But in the meantime, we all know in FRC, presentation, soft skills, and confidence, and writing, sometimes debate, they're all useful. And we go beyond the technical, right? As a circuitry design, and some of the examples you're gonna see later on. And the reason we are able to put everything together very quick in a very short period of time is because of this kind of training. And I think first, not only FLL, first provide a wonderful platform for all the kids, whoever want to do this, and to learn different kind of skills. And inspire. In my training sessions and lessons, the student probably know, sometimes I yap too much, right? Let me know if I go over time. Inspire is very important. They're not coming here just do robotics as STEM, and teach them and have a right mindset, know the direction they're going. That's more important. I talked about this in order to prepare the FRC, sometimes which I didn't even know. And later on we find out, oh, you know what, they need CAD model skills. We prepared that like 3 years ago using SolidWorks. Circuitry design, the robot arm. We did one of the robot arm project in FLL 2-3 years ago. And computer vision, we did that before I even know I want to do FRC. the parents' involvement and support are very, important. I think without any, significant involvement and support from the parents, the student cannot get it. One of the funny thing is, a lot of people say, oh, do you want to interview this student or that? I said, no, I don't want to interview student, I want to interview parents. So let's talk, right? If the parents have men say, I'm coming here to get an award, I say, yeah, that's hard, because you know what? Somewhere else you could guarantee some kind of award. In FRC, we all know, very, very hard. And that's against my principle, because education is the key, right? Role model, eventually I want all the kids grow into the role models of themselves, their parents, their siblings, their communities. So this is the foundation of this amazing FLL team, and so that I can prepare them for the future. Now, projects based on learning, I put a motivation there. I think first, there are many different type of programs, robotic programs, STEM programs. At first, I think it's unique. It's really the combination of holistic education, whole person education. I'm not going to expand on problem solving, but one thing I do want to highlight, in the history of our teams from beginning, our team's name involves one word, solvers. That's something I started with, and later I give it, figured out some names using solvers. The first team is unknown solver, and this team, solver is why we have a solver is infinity. Why? I don't see FLL from day one as a robot game. Somehow I figured out, good for me. I want all my kids to become a problem solver. And especially the innovation project is my favorite. Right? The robot part, they all like it, they do that, and now I cannot even touch them. But innovation is my interest to help them to do research, because independent research is so helpful and useful, and especially when they come to FRC, and this coach is not capable of teaching them or training them. And they have to use their skills and learn from FLL to help themselves build a robot and iterate the robot. Right? So those are the skills that they learn from FLL. And need-based. What a need-based means, we all talk about in FLL some of the fundamentals, for example, PID, right? And truly, like PID, who learned that? You go to university, electrical engineering, second year probably would learn PID. How does 9 years old could understand PID and use it? Well, first of all, we need it. Without a PID, the robot have a hard time to follow a line, to go on a straight line. But in the meantime, how do we teach? How do we educate the kids so that they understand that's my job? I think that's a coach's job. Storytelling, I hope so far the audience hasn't fallen asleep yet, so good for me. This is very important, right? And last part is the innovation project. Moving on. This is not the right way to teach PID, right? At least right now. The innovation project to me is a kind of robot. It's a how to train our kids. I'm going to use some examples. Going back to PID. Everybody loves it, right? So I try to correlate these two things, the robot and the human being. At first I said, okay, the robot has sensors and the human has sensors. We make decisions, the robot makes decisions. And you can do side-by-side comparison. In order to get the robot on track, first off, you need to take a certain amount of risks, and then you find errors. And more importantly, I want the kids to know, in order to solve engineering problem, they need to figure out different kind of mathematical formulas or expressions, a method to solve them. We're not just sitting there, oh, let's wait, how do we do this? And let's figure out a solution. And then once you find an error, I know my problem, and should I fix it? If you don't fix it, what's gonna happen as a human being? Now, you see here, the mentality is, we're not just educator, we're not just teaching robot. We're not just teaching PID. We're telling the kids, you have problems. That's why we're here, to help you, right? From time to time, we want to learn. And you, if you want to improve, become a better person, same as the robot wants to become a better robot so that he can follow the line, go on the street, argue, using less amount of time. So that's the three part of the P and I and D. I'm not gonna break it up, but I want to click on that. Here's an example. I just finished this a month ago. This is our new training. And this presentation was done by Olivia. She's 9 years old. Obviously, I didn't help her. This is one of the best example I want to demonstrate. She's able to put this PID presentation together. 20 pages. I'm going to go over very quick to highlight something that 9 years old could understand. I didn't do any modification. So they talk about problem statement, innovation project. You need to find problem. Anything you need to find problem. They know that. Now moving on. In order to solve problem, I need to find mistakes. Okay? And sometimes they go on to the philosophical level. Mistakes are not that horrible. The young kids has to know that. And moving on. So here is where we introduce the maths. In order to know the mistake in a quantitative way, we introduce the error. And what is error? The error is the definition between the target value and the current value. Foreign parts. We move on, but math, right? All right. So I know my problem as a human being. What should I do? Fix it. So how do I fix it? I drive car to the mountain on this side, and fix on this side, right? Different direction. Well, a math, just negate. All right, moving on. So pseudocode and code. Moving on. Once you have that, if the kids download the code on the robot and try to follow the line, for the experienced coach and members, you know the robot will do it. However, it doesn't do it a perfect way, right? It wobbles a lot. So again, there's a new problem. The kids know there's a problem, not another problem coming up. Again, what's the solution? That's the thing. We had to use some kind of resources. Of course, we're using color sensor, boring part. We move on. Here, how does a 9 years old understand the word proportion? Well, the way we do it is we talk about skill up, skill down. Of course, in the language they understand it so that sometimes you don't have to completely correct all these error finding representations. And of course, there are different unit signals. I'm going to skip that part, but they use the concept of proportional, this math method, to come up with an improved code iteration, right? So this iteration doesn't just apply to the innovation project. And then they download that code onto their robot, and it works a little bit better. Then they say, okay, that's fine, but later on, I'm fixing my current mistake, right? Proportional my current mistake. And as a human being, you can't just fix your current mistake. You have to think about your historical mistake, all the mistakes you made, and that's your integral part, right? So this is where the story comes in to help them to understand. And moving on, and moving on, and they have a new code. Apply that, okay, even better, right? And the last part, very hard, but story-wise, you know what? I can't just fix my current mistake and historical mistake. Can I predict based on the trend? Right? I ask the student, if you look at right now, look at your yesterday, can you predict your future? If you want to become better, what should you do? Inspire them, educate them. And then the robot, again, is only a tool to educate our kids. The PID is important, but not as important as our education. Moving on, please. Moving on. I think that pretty much wrap up this. Next slide. All right, be patient. I think we only have about 20 minutes. I'm going to speed up a little bit. My example to them, every time, right, they come over here. How do you want to learn? Do you want me to grab a piece of food put in my mouth, chew it, spit on the spoon, open your mouth, shovel it into your mouth. You see their reaction, right? They don't like that. They don't like that. They know that. Well, you're gonna do all this. You're gonna fail. You come here, you fail. You fail, you learn. You don't fail, you don't learn. No matter how many kids I see, there's a talent. All the kids are talented. But I think, we all agree that talented kids alone cannot make them successful. They have to go through all the failures and sacrifice all this and then learn from the mistakes. If they don't touch the dirt themselves, they're not going to build a house. So this is very important. Can you click on this? Very quick, I want to show. Doesn't fit. Okay, well, here, right? This is back then, 10 years old. We're using, happened to me and my daughter. Very good example, we use that snake, right? There's a vector. There's all even number iterations of all that. So I developed a kind of AI snake for that project. Eventually they're gonna learn all this, whether or not they understand, but they realize math is important. We introduce a standard deviation. Very quick, let's go over that. Go over that quick. Math, again, we need to know math. And the snake moves, basically we break down to vectors, 10 years old, right? Okay, moving on, all even number, they use it time 100. Coding, moving on. So basically the story is about, we use that snake, right? Infrared sensor, ultrasonic sensor. You want the snake to bite, but you want the snake to bite a person, not a wall. So how do we do that? Well, we introduce a standard deviation. So that kind of give you examples. And 10 years old to make that presentation. All right, I'm gonna quickly hand over to Ryan. He's gonna talk about some of the example projects we have done in the past few years.
So I thought quickly just to introduce, I've been doing FLL for 5 years now, since we started. This was our first ever innovation project back in 2020. During COVID, we created a kind of Simon Says virtual game, but with real robots. So what we essentially wanted to do was create a website that users could interact with online that was actually able to send a signal to a small EV3 robot to play different types of games. So
we don't have a
yeah, but essentially it was 2 robots set up, and the user could from their laptop anywhere in the world. It was using AWS, so Amazon Cloud System, to transfer data to the robots, and they were able to play soccer with each other.
I have to admit, this is the coach's part, right? They couldn't understand. I hope them to realize, there's something called cloud communication system. But yeah, go ahead.
So second year, we created a Mac robot. This is slowly, like you said, building off of previous years' innovation and learning. So we actually used the Arduino, and we marked out all the circuitry. So here we actually learned how to use the Tinkercad circuitry designer build to actually build a 3D model that's in printing. And then we also got a 3D printer that year, so we were playing around, modifying, doing all the different upgrades you see on YouTube, but also using it to create different prototypes and designs. And eventually we came up with what we call the Globot, and essentially what it does is solve the last mile delivery problem between delivery drivers and the house.
This is the first year we introduced computer vision, even though we didn't use OpenCV, but we use a simple sensor.
Yeah, so essentially you put the package in and it goes and delivers, and how that works is through a sensor, a camera that we bought called the Husky lens. It's really easy to set up, really user friendly. It's kind of like your Limelight, for those who do FRC, where it's just plug and play. But essentially it's able to track the user, and we use that, some like text parts and what we had lying around, kind of build a small miniature robot. A year later, adapted our idea idea as a pilot project. So it's something very similar where we're using actual industrial grade parts, but kind of built it off of what we created a year before. Third year, we created a mobile air conditioning and heating robot. Some skills we kind of learned are we used the hoverboard, and we were able to actually hack that hoverboard to be able to control it with an Arduino, as well as some HVAC stuff. So regarding heating and cooling, we used heat pump that was able to use cold air or hot air depending on what you want and output it. And we used the same concept that we learned last year, the Husky lens, to track the user around as well. So it was actually able to heat or cool the user depending where you are, so you won't have to turn on the air conditioning for the whole house if it's just one person. So we actually launched this on Kickstarter, so we learned a lot about marketing, how to talk to different experts about in the marketing field about how to promote the idea, and actually got a $500 endorsement from investors, so kind of benefit. In 2023 for the Masterpiece season, we created a shadow puppet robot. So
well, just so we so this is the first time that we start learning different motors, using a little arm, and the kids learn servo motors and easy motors, all type of motors. I didn't even know we were going to get into the FRC work, but it's so helpful, so helpful. But some say they learned, sorry. Yeah, SolidWorks. Not sent down by coach. Okay, I had a SolidWorks, Blender, doing some simulations and nice.
Yeah, so we use SolidWorks to actually design it and iterate. So just like FRC, you have to build, and we use Blender to actually create kind of a review trailer, which we eventually also put on Kickstarter.
Back in the sound is bad. This is grade 7. Compared to FRC, it's not that good. But the first year, I keep on saying, if the student doesn't have the passion, motivation, doesn't have the interest, will they spend the time doing this? And
the actual concept is.
All right, I'm gonna skip this part because of time. Okay. So the robot accident. This is not a traditional type of attachment robot. We use attachment to finish lamination.
So here we kind of applied all of the skills that we learned throughout the years. What you saw was a kind of advanced line square. So we used the 2 color sensors offset, and it was able to actually, because it's a T, we were able to actually square the robot up to where we exactly wanted it very accurately to kind of reset its position. And then the concept was using a parallelogram arm controlled by a motor to do multiple tasks. So it eventually saved us a lot of time because we didn't have to do 3D attachment changes.
We're talking about autonomous, right? At the FRC autonomous. The FLL is a very good platform to prepare kids for that aspect. All right, we only have about 10 minutes. Let's quickly jump into this very quick. You want to talk about this?
Yeah, so for this year, we kind of took the FLL aspect of the innovation project and created a new kind of concept called the soft body robotic arm. It's essentially just a flexible 3D printed arm that's able to move in any direction. It's controlled by the 2 wires you can see on the side here. And this was actually done by one of our team members. They created a simulation.
Using Modojo,
yeah.
physics.
And this basically this is supposed to be essentially the coral, and we're able to actually wrap around any different size of objects because it's able to flex, and that way it's able to actually adapt around.
Yeah. So again, the whole I think is first innovation. They have the mindset of innovation in the past 5 years, and they want to do something new. And the skill that they have, digital twins and simulation, they somehow learn that in FLL. That's the bubbles philosophy. I put in the business plan and helping them. We all strongly believe we want to help those who are willing to help themselves. This is a very, very important. If the mindset and motivation doesn't come from the student or student cannot get there, it's instantly hard. And here's an example. Our students explaining the math. We're fortunate to have a grade 12 student, very strong in math, and explain how the soft arm works. And we're gonna skip that.
This is our this is our robot review for New Market. If anyone wants to check out our current robots advocates, feel free to come over.
This submitted to Robotics network, right? 15 minutes of this, we got an email saying accepted. Of course, the video has a lot of engineering. The reality didn't look that well. Know what we didn't really prepare. The FRC is still a competition, so the arm kind of broken. We have to go through multiple iterations and try to change that. All right.
So yeah, throughout the overall competition, we've learned a lot of different things. For example, for the New Market, which is the video you just saw, we had a very small intake, which meant it was really hard for the actual human player, especially when we were getting offended, to actually put the coral on that exact spot. So as for Durham, which was 2 weeks after, we kind of revamped our whole robot and added a big funnel in the back, as well as the arm was actually able to pivot up and down. This way we were able to reach the maximum level, which is the level 4, and also be able to knock that algae out. And for now, we also, from Durham to provincials, we actually revamped our robot again, took everything apart, and built the new version, which is actually using 2 claws to grab it from the outside, so the coral from the outside instead of the inside. Because we found some issues with just one grabbing it from the inside and applying pressure. So we're actually able to grab it from the outside now, so we can quickly just place it on any single level. As well as we also played around different things. It's very janky, but learned a lot. We actually tried to develop a ground intake. So on the back, we actually have a ground intake that's able to
some videos. But none of this. My job was sitting there watching them, make sure they don't go over 2 o'clock in the morning. All the parents start yelling. This is very important. Very important. We have to hold the tent that I need to get my kids out there. My job is behind the scenes. I didn't contribute anything. I don't think that kind of reaction is so we're running low on time. Sorry. parents will love to see that. All right. All right. We're almost to the end. As I said in the class, in the trainings, I try to bring some my jobs, usually collecting some videos, group videos, medals, show to the student. I found this is a very
primarily stress doesn't come from hard work. Stress primarily comes from not taking action over something that you can have some control over.
Now, I want to spend a minute on this. Everybody agree. As adults, as a professional, as a student, we all agree sometimes it says it's too hard. Let's do that tomorrow. How the kids develop an FRC robot from nothing in 6 weeks or 8 weeks. I think it's just because of execution. Just do it. And nobody knows. If you think about, are we able to develop a working robot with a server, with soft arm, which nobody has tested out before, and how come we get there? I think we're going to give up right away. They just do it. Test, test, test. Every day, every night, weekends, holidays, they sacrifice a lot. I see that. I'm very proud. The other thing, a very good quote, I just recently saw that a couple of days ago. This is from Dr. Becky Kennedy. She's a psychologist. She said, if something feels too hard to start, that means you haven't break down small enough yet. So break it down small, so that you can get yourself started. And most of the time, the stop student learning is hesitation, is scared. I talk to many teachers. I can't do math. I can't do coding. That's not something I could do, because you get scared. Just do it, all right? Accept the failures. Some people faster, so what? And throughout the history, we all know the people who finally succeed is not those people who are smart. It's most likely those people who work hard. With that, I want to use Chief Justice Robert Closen to close my speech. Very short.
Now, the commencement speakers will typically also wish you good luck and extend good wishes to you. I will not do that, and I'll tell you why. From time to time, in the years to come, I hope you will be treated unfairly, so that you will come to know the value of justice. I hope that you will suffer betrayal, because that will teach you the importance of loyalty. Sorry to say, but I hope you will be lonely from time to time, so that you don't take friends for granted. I wish you bad luck, again, from time to time, so that you will be conscious of the role of chance in life, and understand that your success is not completely deserved, and that the failure of others is not completely deserved either. And when you lose, as you will from time to time, I hope every now and then your opponent will gloat. But your failure is a way for you to understand the importance of sportsmanship. I hope you'll be ignored, so you know the importance of listening to others. And I hope you will have just enough pain to learn compassion. Whether I wish these things or not, they're going to happen. And whether you benefit from them or not will depend upon your ability to see the message in your misfortunes. The commencement speakers are also expected to...
I'm going to stop right here. So, final words. As I said from the beginning, we're not using the kids to build a robot. We want to use the robot to build kids. And that's the philosophy. And if my biggest message or experience or lesson learned in the past 5 years is to educate the kids, help them, inspire them, and give them some fun. A lot of time, wish them bad luck. They have to learn from that failure, and that's how I see the success of transition from FL to FRC, and eventually to their professional life. Thank you so much. And,
爸爸，最好的 coach， 爸爸。Ask Ryan if he wants to join. Ask Hey, can you look at the venue? Hey, I just told you where. 0 spots in the space.
But let me do that because
哎，你把我的手给举散了，你去拍他，去拿着去拍照了，可以近距离拍，随便拍。他们这边 tilted。 That
small topic, that's fine. So they are able to do their language.
老师每次讲的时候都是要我巨肉啊，没事，没事。
And you know, so many kids. How can I train? I do train them, but in terms of management. You know, all the competition, I can't, only one person. So the FRC helped the FLL helped the junior, and the junior helped the FLL. So when they teach, when they help others, you know, one thing is, but technically help them to understand, oh, this is the part, I don't understand, you can go back.
Okay, I'll write down your email.
Can I email you?
Yeah.
That might be easier.
That's a very,
I'll write down your email and then we'll go back. I think
you came
it's
up
kind
with
of like a hot order.
and then you finish, they take your knowledge away. Then what? They need to have them and tell them the benefit. You don't think, oh, that's a burden. I have to teach something.
Okay,
Right?
I'll make sure to email you a copy.
I feel very
Okay, great.
you know, as I go home, teach your grandma, teach your younger brother, sister, if they, how much they could understand. You should be happy, right? So again, my message there, education, when we talk about education, the teacher is very important. You guys are very important. Make sure you have all this FRC sustainable plan, right? You make sure they can't keep on pass on knowledge. Otherwise, one gap, one COVID, yeah, that will go.
But maybe just an idea.
Definitely have an office. So you're basically trying to say is that letting the students teach themselves. Doing mistakes.
Yeah, you teach yourself. The Mandarin side.
Our FLL is elementary school, so we have four. We have 4 FLLs. We founded one this year, and we also have this.
Sure,
We're
sorry.
talking about for our FRC. Do you know how to use like digital skill building for your FRC teams?
So yeah, so we try to incorporate like mostly FLL students into the FRC because they've already kind of developed
All those skills in FLL,
Yeah,
just
all
like
those skills.
overtime.
Yeah, so yes. Some advice give them some stuff.
I don't know how rich your school is. We're not that rich either. Yeah, but even like something as simple as Tinkercad, they kind of want to provide lessons that we did for launch different courses, different classes, kind of split up the group, have them kind of play with different objects. Because at the end of the day, you kind of need to build up the motivation. They have that motivation, they're going to go learn themselves. They're going to go learn everything they need to learn. In regards to FLL, how we run, we kind of, so we have like multiple different teams. But in the beginning, when we only have one team, we kind of divided up the group together. So I don't know what your exact team is. Yeah.
Our mentors are us. Like we mentor the FLL team as well. Do you do that for yours?
Yeah, our whole FRC team mentors.
Okay. So we only do like once a week. So you recommend like trying to bump it up like twice a week?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we keep our studio open 24/7. So kids who have
Because
the
it's
motivation-
community based, right? So you have more flexibility.
Yeah.
It's 2 in the morning. I'll just come in time.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, it's like 4 p.m. Go home.
Yeah.
You don't have that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, maybe like bump it up a little.
Yeah. We're trying to keep this where it's not
I mean, you guys already made it to World. You can go use that.
We
Like,
make because of our robots. We made it because we've got an engineering experience.
that's still good. We made it via Rookie All Stars.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thank you. We're kind of confused with that.
Oh, for yours, 64 over.
Yeah.
Here's the deal.
Okay. If you have any questions, just come in.
Thank you so much. What's your name?
We're in mill.
Ladies.
No, like mill site. Mill stage.
No, Steve? Okay, I'll make sure to watch the video like this.